When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube. So, we're back on the Grease Goblins channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over another theory. Basically, who hired the Catspaw in the books to assassinate Bran and pretty much help start, the War of the Five Kings. So, before I get into this video, I want you guys to put down in the comments who you think did it. Because I thought this was more set in stone, but apparently there are some people that still don't know. So tell me who you think it was before I get into the video. Also, if you want to see more content from me, subscribe, like, do the normal sellout stuff. And yeah, so getting into the theory. Well, I'll give you we'll do some background information first. So Bran falls from the tower. And eventually, after all the king's party leaves and it's just Catelyn, she's basically been with Bran because he hasn't woken up. Been with him for weeks. One night, basically the library gets set on fire. So Robb, who's in the room, the guards at the door, they all go help to try to figure out what's going on at the library and fix that. Well, that happens. The Catspaw walks into the room and goes to Catelyn, "You shouldn't be here." Which makes no sense because Catelyn's been there for weeks and hasn't even slept much, hasn't left the room. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Basically, he tries to, kill Catelyn, or his intent wasn't really to kill Catelyn, but just to get her out of the way to kill Bran. And eventually, Summer comes in, saves the day. Catspaw dies. He is equipped with a Valyrian dagger, which is what sets off a lot of things in the story. So we have a Catspaw who has a Valyrian dagger, and then he also was basically in the stable scouting out, the castle and stuff. They find a bag of 90 silver coins. So he's paid really well, a Valyrian dagger, and was very mediocre at his job. He didn't even know that Catelyn was going to be in the room or took into account Bran's direwolf. So there's a few characters that really are looked at. You have Tyrion is the big one that gets blamed for it by Catelyn. Tyrion obviously didn't do it because Tyrion, like he says, always bets on his brother. And he always, in the beginning of the book, is has this sympathy for Bran, as well as wants to see Bran wake up. As well as it just doesn't fit Tyrion's character, especially earlier on in the series. Doesn't really make sense for why Tyrion would have any motive to do it. The next two would be Jaime and Cersei. But we know, again, by the way, with the POV chapters, Jaime and Tyrion, they both are trying to figure out who did it. So they're pretty much already out. Now, Cersei definitely has a motive here because she says multiple times, she's scared if Bran wakes up that she could tell what, basically, Cersei and Jaime were doing, and that's why Bran got pushed. But the thing is, Jaime specifically says they had a conversation about trying to kill Bran, but it was impossible. There was always a guard outside the door. Catelyn was always in the room. They'd have to pretty much kill half of Winterfell to pull that off. And also, Jaime says that Cersei, if she wanted to do that, would have just came to him, and that never happens. So I feel like Cersei is a decent candidate, but again, I think gets taken out. Now the main two, I think for most people in this scenario, are Littlefinger and Joffrey. Now, the people point to Littlefinger because when Catelyn asks whose the dagger it is, or, where the dagger came from, he says it was his that he gave to, or he lost to Tyrion in the bet with Jaime and Loras Tyrell. It turned out that's false. And there's so many people that can say that that's false. It's a very quick lie. It's a very bad lie when you look about it. If Catelyn was a smarter character and asked around a little bit. So It's very odd. Another problem I have with Littlefinger being the person that did it is Bran falls, and then the assassin thing happens. It seems very unlikely that Littlefinger, with the timing, would have been able to get a Valyrian dagger to somebody, tell them to do this, because if you're looking at it from the Littlefinger angle, he wasn't actually doing this to kill Bran. He was doing it so that, because he would specifically say that Catelyn wasn't in the room, all this stuff, so he wasn't planning for it, so this would fail, help spark the Lannister and Stark thing. But I just don't think the timing adds up. And I also don't like the lie, really, that Littlefinger would have told if he actually was a main suspect and people thought about him, that this could possibly be him that did it. Also, I don't think he would have used that dagger that people knew that he had, if it was going to be him or he did it. So yeah, I think the main candidate here that you really have to look at is Joffrey. It just makes sense because we find out later on, from Cersei's point of view, that they actually did have a conversation with Robert and Joffrey where, Robert's saying basically, if a horse breaks its leg or something like that, we give it a mercy and we kill it. But we're not strong enough to, give a mercy to a child that's, a cripple. Now, Joffrey hears this, and it fits his character perfectly. He's cruel, he's not exactly clever, he's pretty stupid. Takes this and goes, okay, this is a good way to impress my father. Because his father never really gave him any love, this is a good way to make his father proud, in his mind, in his psychotic mind. So, in my opinion, he gives the dagger, which we do know probably would have been there because, again, this was a trip that took, half a year. His servants would have brought almost everything. And we also know, because they confirmed this, is that Littlefinger actually lost the dagger to the king, not to Tyrion. So we know that Robert was in possession of this dagger during the time that Bran would have gotten pushed and would have had the assassination attempt and all that. So it makes sense that Joffrey gets a hold of this dagger, gives it to the Catspaw, gives him a bunch of money, and says it's a mercy. Now, he also gets some wording that is kind of similar here. The Catspaw says it's a mercy. It kind of uses some of the language that Robert used. I feel like it all adds up to me that Joffrey was the one that did the Catspaw. And that's what Jaime and Tyrion come to the conclusion of, that it is Joffrey. So two of the people that know Joffrey the best come to this conclusion. It just seems that this is the logical answer. The show goes a different way, and they say it's Littlefinger, which is, I think, the second best candidate for who did it. I just don't like the way the time adds up, as well as some of the motives that go along with that. So, yeah, I just want to know, what do you guys think here? Because I've seen a lot of people just not know still, and they thought it was still a mystery. Like, it is still a mystery. George doesn't come out straight up and tell us this. But George has said in interviews before, he said, I thought this was already confirmed when people ask him about it, because this is George's writing. George doesn't like to give you just the straight up answers. He likes to give you clues that lead you to the right answer. Like the video I'm doing, or I did last week, the Red Door theory with Danny, where it's a very long theory, and then he eventually gives you just some key evidence that some people might not pick up on the first reading, like me, I didn't, that, the Sea Lord of Bravos watched signing of that, thing. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It was a pretty good one, I think. But yeah, George likes to leave these mysteries for us to kind of figure out. And I really got inspired to do this video because I saw a video where they were saying the bad writing wasn't the show's fault, it was the book's fault on just things that happened earlier on. And this was their first major point, was that one of the biggest things that impact the story we never find out. When in reality, if you actually just read the books, George gives you a lot of context information that it's there's like an 80%, 70 to 80% chance it's Joffrey, and there's like a 20 to 30% chance it's Littlefinger. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I hope you all enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. We'll probably be uploading 4 Song of Ice and Fire videos this week, so subscribe and like for that. Also, hope you guys have a great Halloween. We're kind of doing like Spook Week, where I'm just doing all the evil characters and all the mysterious like bad guys in the series for the most part. And that's why I wanted to include this one, because it's got Joffrey as the main villain as well as Littlefinger. So, yeah. Peace. Have a good one, guys.